And it does take a while to install and unpack everything. So what we usually do is, once you're all downloaded, we hit next again. There are a few important things that you need to know when installing it. Standard PC or notebook, and diagnostic interface. I like to select pass-through because I could use multiple interfaces as long as it's loaded up on the laptop ahead of time. And I'll tell you why. Most of you guys will be using the J-Box. You pass this around. You already know what this is. You know what this is. I don't even have to tell him. That's the dealer head. You could buy those. They're around $1,100. All right, so I select, like I said, I select pass-through, so I could run that. I could run the newer head. I could run whatever pass-through device I'm on, and it'll work flawlessly. At least that's what they say. You hit next. You choose whatever language you want, English, Chinese, doesn't matter. They ask you for certain things that you need to do. You need to generate a hardware ID so you could actually install it on whatever PC you want to install it on. If you're using a regular laptop, the requirements are 2 GB of RAM, Pentium 4, a 80 GB hard drive, and a 15-inch monitor, and Windows Professional. I wouldn't go by these specs. I'd buy the best thing that you could afford. I try to use an SSD as my hard drive. I don't know what you guys are using. Yeah. SSD? You didn't go to SSD yet, right? Regular. It actually works a lot quicker with an SSD drive. So if you want somebody to clone your drive and do that.
You have to use Windows 7?
You could use Windows 7 or Windows 10. We're going to get to my issue with my Windows 7 and 10 soon. Yeah. All right, so here's what I got. This is my setup. I've got a tablet, Windows 10 tablet, before I had a Windows 7 laptop. I got a Cardac Plus 2, and I got a fancy Tiguan I wanted to use. ODIS doesn't work without being online, unless you have the clone bootleg version from wherever you guys got it. It works. The bootleg version works for, it doesn't do component protection or any of that other stuff. The offline stuff is really good, or the test plans, or basic settings. And so here's what I did. I installed ODIS, right? Downloaded, started installing. I would give yourself some time to work, because as you see, we started a little while ago, and he still says 1 second remaining, and it's been there for quite a while now. It actually takes about 2 hours to install the program. But once you're done, you got to install the updates. So there's a lot of updates. So here's what happened with me. I got it all installed. I plugged in my Cardac Plus 2. I hooked it all up. I said, all right, now I'm going to work on this car. He said, yeah, right. I don't know what pitfalls you guys fell into when you first got it. It was a bunch, right? And you back there? It was working when you came? Yeah. All right, so I plugged it in. I hit Start Diagnostics. This is exactly what I did. And the thing said, no internet. I said, whoa.
It's set up to factory.
I'm like, what the heck? And he's right. I went, being me, I said, all right, I'm going to check. My internet works. The best way for me to check internet check if Google works. That's how I check. All right, so what they don't tell you is as soon as you get it, you got to go to admin.
You gotta change the public.
Yep, and you got to change the connections from CPN to internet. That's the only way it's going to work. I switched it on to internet. I said, all right, cool. This is supposed to work now. I came from the dealer, like this guy. I plug in the connector, and I look. I notice it says ignition status not recognized. Now I stop. I go back on the phone again. I call these guys, put in the case number. They call me about 4 hours later. At that time, I'm like, I'm lost, confused, unsure what the heck's going on. They said, oh, it's normal. You're using a J2534. It won't see the key. I said, come on, man. Why didn't you guys tell me that? So what they said was there were two people writing the ODIS program. One guy that wrote it for J2534, the other one that wrote it for the dealer tool. And within that system, they didn't talk to each other. The guy, he worked right next to him. He said, no, we didn't. He wrote his half, he wrote his half. They didn't care to talk. And that's pretty good. All right, so on Windows 7, which I had at the moment, only that head could be used, which is the 5054A. If you got Windows 7 or 10, you could use this head. But this head is mainly 7 only.
This head is getting phased out.
Huh? It is getting phased out, but it still works. All right, so here's what I did. I hooked up my tool again. I got everything all squared out, hopefully. Hooked up my tool, hooked into the car, said, all right, time to work on this thing. You hit start, diagnostics. First thing it asks you for is your password. Your password consists of your first name, your last initial, first initial, last initial, the number 1, the last 3 on your driver's license, a $sign, and the year that you purchased the subscription. And this you're going to need for most of everything. Yep. And anytime you hit enter, I want to do this function, it pops up, hey, please enter your password. Till it gets pretty obvious that, I'm the only one using this computer. Come on, man.
They never update the password.
Yeah.
Forever.
Right.
Yeah. You want to again?
All right, so let's see what we got on here. It's still going. All right, so right now we got into the car. It reads the VIN. It reads what motor it is. Still reads no key. Remaining runtime, it usually has how much credits you have left or how much time you have for the rest of the year. Your dealer number, your importer number, which is usually 444 if you're in the US or Canada. What I like doing is once it reads all the module, it takes a little while, I hit network diagram and look at it as a network. I feel way better as looking at it as a network than anything else. I don't know if you like running through it like this. That's a bit crazy. You gotta go up and down, and now I can see what's on the network and what's talking.